Hello, we're gonna talk here about how to edit pictures. We're gonna focus in products and we're gonna use a free software called Gimp. My name is Silas and I'm gonna help you here following the following topics. We're gonna remove the background of the picture. In this case, we're gonna duplicate a layer and gonna start to erase. So that's how we're gonna remove. We're gonna work with color correction in the second part of the video, going these four tools. Sometimes we just need to add some saturation, but it's good also to work with level, contrast, and well, just to know what the four things do. These gonna work with the levels of color, a little similar to context. So here you see that this part is darker than this white here. The level we're gonna work is one part to get the two to be closer, more bright. The same way we can use this with context, but context will work in all, so you don't go only in the less white, we go also to the dark colors. Adding context is gonna be stronger the dark color and stronger the bright. Saturation is good to add the color in the images, and with a way you can change the color. You can take a piece of cloth that is red and change to blue. So I can go open here a picture in the Gimp software. So there is two ways of doing it. You can go file and open the image, or if you already used before, you can go to open with Gimp. Okay, sometimes when you do this, he asks if you want to rotate the image. Let me show you how. So if you open the image in your computer and if you rotate, so let's put it like this, okay? And you close. If you try to open Gimp, nice. They're gonna ask you, you want the original format or the rotate one? So you can decide. So this time I don't need, just gonna keep. Okay, so what happens if you delete a So we're gonna use select. Because this image is a rectangle, you can also press R, the R key in the keyboard. So if you select and delete, you're gonna see a black square. So if you delete something, they're gonna show what is in the other layer. This is because they are trying to add a color. And this is terrible, it's not what you want. So Command Z twice. What we want to do is when we remove the background, we want to show a transparent color. But as you send me a picture, this picture don't have a transparent layer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click here. This is the option to create a new layer. They're gonna ask what name you want. We don't care. But I'm gonna call mask picture. And what is important here is transparency. If it was just a picture with background color, we would remove the background and you'd add this color, second color here. So you want transparency. So that is the mesh that they show there is transparent. So I'm gonna copy this. So command and negative, or you can use the mouse wheel and you can go pull to your side. Okay, I try to use command negative, but don't work. Negative and positive don't do zoom. So control and go. Command D is for Mac. So I copy the image. I get to this, there is transparency, and Command V. So I just paste. You're gonna see on the corner here, fluctuate layer. So I could go in the move tool. There is the lever M and move to a side I want, but this is the full size I want. So I'm just gonna click anchor, and the anchor gonna add this to the layer below. Nice. So now we have this picture here, and if I use the select tool, again is the R because I'm selecting a rectangle, and I delete, they're gonna show the transparent. If you export these as a picture, you could have a picture without background in the correct softwares. Normally on stores they just gonna use white. Some apps gonna use black, but if you use like Word document, Inkscape, another Gimp, they have like a PNG with a transparent background. For us, after this, we would add another layer, and gonna be the white background. I'm just gonna call background. And why I'm calling just background? Because this background here, there is white, bucket, okay, and white. The first color always gonna be the color you use. You have a white background, but if you select here a pink color, they would be pink. You see here the background is one layer, and here's another one. Right now, I'm gonna click here the black and white, and I'm gonna click here to exchange, so I have a white, and I'm gonna click here. It's important that I'm selecting these, because if I was in the picture and click here, let me take the background and paint it black. So the background is black, but there is a layer here with the white marker, what's not nice. So I teach you how to use this selector. I'm gonna teach you how to use this really nice function. If you click here, they're gonna select all the objects with the same color, and you can delete. Nice. So you seen the pixels here? If I try to use them right here, they're gonna select things that have a similar color, okay? But they don't work well. If I delete for here, see? They take things that we don't want. So it's really sad that I cannot use perfectly. Like if I click here and click delete, they get almost a good job, but if you go closer, you see the pixels. So we cannot use these two. Some people like these, but we cannot use for what we're gonna do. We go to the slow way of doing things. So I'm gonna let the background to be a white color. I'm gonna click in the middle here because it's the background that we select, no problem. And we're gonna use another select tool. So I teach this select tool for you, rectangle, use R and you can select and delete, nice. I teach you how to use this magic tool here that don't work so well. And right now what we're gonna use is this tool here. So we select the tool, and we're gonna start with this tie here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click and click again until we have a form, and we can click delete and we're gonna erase. Okay, so and always I like to, so these two here is with F, but when I want to go out of these two, normally I click X, but after selecting and delete, so like we're gonna take this triangle, I click R and click out of this area. Okay, one way of doing would be using a eraser too, but if you go the zoom here, you see that there is a transition. So I have a shortcut here with the white, a middle ground, and then another middle ground, and finally the invisible. So if you start here, this is the white of your screen, the middle between the white of the screen and nothing, and this here is nothing. Okay, so for the ties and the piece of cloth and everything, is good to have like a precision, and these here you see that they have a lot of options, and for the products that we want is not the best. Okay, so we're gonna start. When we go, we just start to cut. Okay, there is a transition between the white first screen and the object, and the idea is go to the middle of this part. So you see this white area here, we're gonna basically cut like that. So you can see here, oh look, some of the near blue is outside, but is everything okay? So when we have a like a shadow, you see here, there is no problem that we cut a little of the color. Because we're gonna still have the difference here. If you'd go by these, you'd have the shadow here. If you want to have a shadow, you cut like the shadow in this way, and then you take this erase and go after. Okay. One nice thing, I took these 2 points and they're not good. You can go to the sphere and put to a new location. So this is really good. And you can do these in all projects that you have. Normally is more nature to have a sequence of dots as I'm doing than try to have a straight line here, so people don't gonna realize that you cut it. Also is good that you see this fur here, this line, you can cut it so you can correct also your picture. Nice. So I gonna speed up and I go up here and gonna cut these. If you go all and pass for the all the tie and you click delete, you're gonna delete the tie. It's not what we want. But you can also select all these and go with Command X to cut, and then you can create a new layer like the background is transparent and paste there. This is a pretty good idea too. So as I said, I'm just gonna cut the top part. So in this way, we can just cut here. Okay? So if you do these on these 3 different objects, and you go to this line and take these here and then delete and delete, you have the 3 in the same layer picture, and you have a empty background that you can add a white, or you can add a picture here with some texture, so like you can have like a white wood here and have like a good texture. Because we have layers, you could also add the logo here. Okay, so I'm gonna complete these and I'm gonna do a little different. I'm gonna complete and do a copy and paste a new layer. Okay. See how I'm trying to remove the shadow? This is because I decide that I want to remove the shadow. You can go and judge how you want to do it. You can also create fake shadows if you have this background here and you take a pencil and start to pass here. Like if you paint black here, there is a picture above, but if you go here you can do a shadow. I can show these also. So if I didn't had cut these before, I'd have to continue go like here, cutting the white pixels and everything else, but already is good enough. So I just gonna click here, okay, and I'm gonna create a new layer, bow tie, transparent, nice. I'm gonna layer explain about scale, okay. So if I take Command X, that is cut, they're gonna work right now because I'm selecting this layer. So picture, Command X, they vanish. Okay, if I deselect here, no problem. You see the shadow and like the piece of line that I don't want, the elastic that I didn't want. So I'm gonna here Command V. So they don't add in the same place. Let me see if they have Command D. No, they don't have this option. Command D here is duplicate. So if you go with Command V, you have to select where you want to add the image. Okay, so Command V, we're gonna click Move and select close to where it was, and you click Alt or click the anchor, and now you have just the bow tie. See? And I can decide like I don't want this piece of fabric. You can remove, no problem. Okay, maybe you want to remove to look better in the picture. Okay, you think this white layer is not so good, we can give a cut. So remember that I say about the fake shadow? Let me show just the shadow here. I'm gonna click in the cut. Let me just cut better here. Okay, turn on white background. Turn on the bow tie. So what happens if I create a new layer called shadow? And I select black. So let me just change to black here. And we have like this brush, the like a strong color. It's not so hard a color, but it's a strong color. But if you go here, you have a strong line and you have this effect here. So it's like a dégradé. So if I pass here, they not painting the tie because it's in another layer. But the nice thing is you now have a shadow. Okay, the problem is you have to have a strong hand because if you pass, it's gonna be too dark. Interesting thing, if you have an eraser, again, you need a strong hand to do exactly how you want to have, but it's an option. Of course, there you need to have some concept of how the shadow should work. Because again, you can pass out, and if you're deciding the shadow is here, this means that the light is coming from this side, and you have to respect these in the other objects. Okay, I'm gonna remove this. So let's go back here. So removing background, we finally finished this. Okay, the next topic is color correction, level, context, and saturation. So let's go with this, and it's easy. I go with the bow tie here as a way to don't lose what I have. I like to copy, and now this layer that I just click this eye to hide is like a backup. Okay, I like to rename things, so here is level. And please see the difference between these and that one. If you go to colors and levels, you see here the context. So these go let the be dark. You have the middle color and again color levels, and you have these here. These let the image to be a little lighter. Okay, really good. For us to simulate that this is white. Our interesting is, remember this first image? Let me just duplicate. If you go only with that and go color levels and you remove these to be here, they have really close to what we would want. We have a like good color for all. The only problem that we have the shadows of the corners. Okay. Interesting is this color code is the same for all. So if you think about 220 as a good option for all the masks, all the fabrics here, you could go on the tie. Remember, I'm just in the bow tie, and use the same. So you think how 200 was good. Okay. So level is a way to work with light. Maybe for this is just that. You cut all and put 200, and maybe because the light's not the same, let me open here. That one look a little darker than this. So maybe one gonna be level 200 and the other one's gonna be different. Okay. So what I do is I like the level, duplicate, take, maybe put a L that you use level. Let me see my list here. Let's go to context. I can go and have context beside there. I already have this side. The level is too bright for me. 200 was too bright. If you go context, you see the. Oh, let me go better. This is the normal tie. Duplicate. I hope I type right. So, contrast. If you add contrast, you don't work just level. You saw that we was just working with white. Context, what is white is bright. When the color goes to. Okay. If you go just with the brightness, everything gonna try to look like a white blob. If you remove, everything gonna try to be black. So this is why I go level first, and maybe if you have some context to fix, you can go to context. Okay, and I'm seeing that 200, I think it was 200 I add here was too much. Yeah, let me call these level 200. And the nice thing of going creating and changing is because you can confirm later. Okay, so level, context. Let's go to saturation. I love working with saturation. So color, let me go to the original one. So this one I'm gonna call saturation. So there is two options, saturation and hue. Hue are gonna be the next one. So saturation, if you just add saturation, you see these greenish to bluish go to be stronger. If you remove, they become black and white. Okay, so the normal value is 1, and sometimes you want to add a level so they're gonna look better. Okay, you can type numbers, so 1.5. Okay, and here is good for you to look all to make sure they're all gonna have the same. So like you saw that I add 1.4, and you can see the difference between the original and these here. Okay, so let me take the one that have a little bright, that one here, level 250. Let me duplicate, and I'm gonna add saturation. So have the level of 2015. You don't need to add the number and saturation. So color, saturation. Let me get close here and add some saturation here. Okay, so maybe, and just maybe, or that is the one without saturation, with saturation, and above saturation and the level that we did before. So that's why I start with level. Okay, some people like really specific numbers. You can also go with these, or you can click and use the scroll wheel or move. Okay, and the final thing, and of course try to have these look like your final product. And the final thing is hue. I never know how to pronounce these. I pronounce as a Brazilian. So first I go with the original one, and welcome to the magic. So color, saturation way, there is two ways of doing. There is chroma here also. This one gonna show a color wheel, and you have option to work with saturation. Okay, but it's stronger than the one that we use. So you have saturation here. You have lightness, so they try to go to white. You see that some parts is too strong, but the way is like if you move here, you're gonna change the color of everything. Okay, so now the tile is blue. You see here how all the colors change also in the corner here, and there is how to use these for fun. I have a picture that I have that I changed the tie that I was using for different colors. So this is the option, okay? And if you really have a piece of fabric that is like the same one, you can have the same picture and just change here. But why would you use this option? You would use this option if my picture is going to green, but in reality is not this color, should be more blue. So you try to move here until get the blue that you want, but it's not this blue, so maybe you remove a little saturation and you try to get in the position that you want. Okay, so this is too much. Maybe the idea that we want is a tie that is just a little more blue than the other one. Okay, as the always I'm gonna take the one that I'm looking the result. This one is light, this one has saturation. I'm gonna duplicate. Okay, saturation is S, and now we're gonna have hue. So color with saturation. I'm gonna show you two things. Here you already know is changing color, so I change to blue. Okay, And this style is really easy to work because there is like a color, more specific, there is like two colors because we have white and the color, okay? But sometimes you can just select the color you want to change. So I want to work just with cyan. And if you move here, you're gonna see they just work on that one. All the other ones didn't change, okay? So there are problems and nice things here. You see this green here? So as I click cyan, they just try to work with the cyan here, or the close to cyan here, and here they consider it as green, so it didn't work. So we should go click the green and move, okay? Why we do that? Maybe you have maybe you want to have the difference, like in this case you want to have a little more pink. But the reason that you do this is, imagine that you have an object that has more colors. So let me go to February, original. I'm gonna try to take a tie here that have more options. Maybe my face. I want the pictures that you send me after that have a lot of ties. Here. So new layer. So let me just drag this. Nice. Okay, so I just want to work with this one that has a lot of colors, or maybe this one. This is perfect. So I want to go just with this guy. Okay, color, away saturation. Let me move to get close. If you move here, you change all. Okay, but maybe you want to try to move to change just the red. You click red and move a little. So you're seeing that you move the red without changes. If you go too far, you see the difference. But normally you're gonna use red just to correct. So maybe you go a little here to have more reddish, okay? Maybe you want to add saturation just to the red. So this is an option that you have. If you're gonna click here, conceal, you're gonna see the difference. Okay, interesting. I select just these here. So when I go to saturation, they don't change all of them. Okay, if I click, I let open here and get where, they will change for everything else. Okay, so here we go. If you go to green, you're affecting just that, but this has green and yellow, so you have to go to yellow to start to change. Okay, again, I'm going too aggressive here. Maybe the idea would be for this one, like here. So here we have a really good green, and maybe that's the real color and not this one here. Okay, and if you have different pictures of the tie, maybe like if you send me these again, this bow tie again, it would be good to open here as a new layer and try to compare if the color is similar. Okay, so with this we saw how to remove background, how to correct color using level, contrast, saturation, and away. So you have a lot of tools here. The final thing is dimension. Okay, so this picture here has some proportion. This option here to crop is the same one that we use in different like Windows software. If you select just that, if you select like here and click enter, they can delete everything else. You have just the bow tie, okay? And if you export these, you have just the bow tie, okay? That tool works also to cut the image, and maybe have like just the tree here. You see that I cannot move a little further. This is because I fixed the aspect ratio to 4:3. Why 4:3? That's the aspect ratio of pictures in Etsy. So if you want to have a picture in Etsy, you want to have a 4:3 format. The picture that we have right now is not 5:3, and I cannot like fix them here. See? So maybe we can cut all the spaces. We can create a new project. Okay? We can maybe like have it like bigger. Okay, no problem to have it like as a box. Let me add these to be transparent. Wow, gonna be huge. Okay, so I have this space here. After you have like all the layers that you like, you can copy and paste here. Paste in different layers. So bow tie. Just because I didn't finish, I'm gonna just copy all. New layer. Okay. So you have them in different layers. It's easy to select and click to move. Okay. You can select and move. You see that the border go to, or you can select and Ctrl X. Okay. But why I did these things. If you go here and click crop, activate fixed rate of 4:3, you can select a 4:3 display. Okay, I'm gonna paint white here. You've seen that you have like a border here. Maybe you want to move these a little down. If you move, if these objects here get to be here, and maybe that one move to that, maybe you can save some space. But if this is good, perfect. Okay, you just click File and Export. Okay, if you give a name as a PNG, gonna be a PNG. If you change JPEG, you have JPEG. Okay, when you export, they're gonna ask you what the quality do you have. 90%, 93, and 96 normally are the quality that they show as usual. If you put 100% of quality, you're gonna have a large file, a heavy file that has no difference. Okay, so I have this picture of Kobe here, is 1 megabyte, and if I put 100%, gonna be like 6, 8, and gonna look the same. So we can just go through Navy and Sport. This GIMP you can save as well. If you save, you're gonna save the project. Okay, saving the project is XCF. You can later open again, save, or maybe put the logo. That's why I like to save the project of every one of them. So I have the projects here, and you can have like that. Let me just show you here. So I have the original and change, okay? A white background. So if later you want to change the background, we can later change, you can add the picture and everything else, okay? The problem here of 3/4 is that this picture here is not 3/4, it's not 4/3, it's 3/4, and so the image needs to rotate, okay? And I'm going to the last part. Let me imagine that this is good, okay? And finish 3/4 is nice. So you have a 3/4 like this, but you can have a 3/4 like this as well, okay? The guidelines that I have here, you just go to image, guides, percentage, and then you can select, so like vertical 75%. Let me just add the second one. Vertical 25%. So I can try to see if they are well balanced, okay? So if this is good, you can go on file and export the image, okay? One interesting thing, if we can work out of scale. So the size here is 2276 for 3000, okay? If I'm not mistaken, Etsy gave the idea of having the picture should be 2000 in the largest size. So we can go to scale. So scale, you can put like percentage and put like 50. Wow, these would have a huge image. So if you have like 50, the image is gonna get smaller, okay? But as we have pixels here, you can take the large side and put like 2000. And you have 2450 because it's 3/4. Believe in what you're doing and wait. Nice! So you have a smaller size. That is why I like to have saved the project, because you can change later. So I'm gonna export this. Portrait to B. So you export. They show here where we save. Okay, is in Gimp portrait to B. So you have here 2 megabytes, and I save as a PNG. Let me show you how they're gonna look if I export as a JPEG. I go with 96. They have the same proportion and probably gonna be half of 1 mega. So we have the picture here, and you can just export there. PNG files, they normally wait, hope that you have like a alpha channel and things like this. That's why sometimes they get bigger. But you can change these in the time they export as a PNG. Yes, replace. You can change the compression level, so they're gonna be less perfect. He didn't change anything. So just pause the JPEG. So you have a picture here. If you go in the properties here, you're gonna see there is 2000 is the biggest size for 1500. So this is how you work with Gimp. I hope you like it.